The Europa League goes down to the wire. The road to Dublin continues. Dublin 2024, we continue with interesting matchups. Interesting week last week. Most of the big shots were kicked out. Liverpool kicked out. AC Milan kicked out. Benfica kicked out. And of course, at the end of the day, the teams that want to win will progress to the next round. Welcome to yet another episode of Mr. Vamos Dissects. That's the home of sport, I think, in Uganda. It must be the home of sport, the home of dissection. We talk football here, we breathe football, we bleed football. For those of you who are new here, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. In this episode, we'll be talking about the Europa League. Of course, the road to Dublin, that's the semi-finals. If we're to look into the history, the video we did about the Europa League, we actually did more misses than the hits. Well, of course, we saw Benfica taking on Marseille that time the other way around. Marseille took out Benfica in the penalty shootout. AC Milan taking on Roma. Roma were actually the winners in this one. They managed to put the tie to bed, both home and away. And then, of course, Liverpool-Atlanta, we most definitely thought Liverpool was going to have the balls and the confidence to take out Atlanta. But Atlanta seemed a bit more tricky. Atlanta actually took out Liverpool, interestingly. And then West Ham and Leverkusen, that's the only hit that we made. That's the only hit that we took. Leverkusen actually outed West Ham. Interesting fixtures that were there, interesting matchups. Very many of the games going to penalty shootouts and all that. But, well, let's talk about the road, what's left of the 4 teams remaining. Well, the very first game will be Marseille. Marseille will be taking on Atlanta. Well, when I look into this game, Marseille didn't actually play the best football, both home and away. That was in Portugal and then in France. But somehow they managed to get the results beyond the line, over the line. Well, Aubameyang and co were really fluffing their lines in those fixtures inside there. And then, of course, Benfica was made to pay. They won the game on penalty shootout. Of course, they experienced Di Maria missing a penalty inside there. I think he missed the very first penalty and the rest was history. Atlanta, on the other hand, Atlanta managed to demolish Liverpool at the Anfield, something that you rarely see. 3-0 winners at the Anfield. Pretty shock of a result for very many people across Europe. And then when Liverpool went to Atlanta, very, very early goal that they took Mo Salah with a penalty, and they thought maybe, yeah, this was our moment. But Atlanta managed to keep the results at 1-0, and they qualified for the next one. Well, when Atlanta faces Marseille, for me, this will be the easiest prediction for me to give. I think I'll even start with the result that I'm giving. I think Atlanta takes this one on the win. The reason why I give Atlanta a win on this one is because, well, when Atlanta beats a Liverpool side that is pushing the Premier League and they're playing beautiful football like they've been playing, with the return of Diogo Jota, in the lineup and the likes of Curtis Jones back in the midfield and Alisson Becker back in the fray, Liverpool becomes a solid. And for a team like Atlanta to come through and beat them at home at the Anfield and manage to pick a loss of 1-0, but still qualify to the groups is not something to sit on. In Gianluca Scamacca, someone who failed to play his trade in West Ham in the Premier League and he wasn't playing ball, he's now playing serious football in Italy, and he actually settled the tie quickly at the Anfield. When you get Coupe Miners must be among the best midfielders in the Italian Serie A at the moment, playing very beautiful football. I think very many of us rarely look into Gasperini ball for Atlanta, but he's been at Atlanta for very many seasons, and they've been playing very beautiful football. Marseille, on the other hand, well, coming into the preliminaries and the knockouts of the Europa League, I think they had the most creative players in the league. They had a Harit inside for you. They had I think their number 2. His name skips me. Very creative, but the football that they played against Benfica alone was really worrying. I think for Benfica, I think they'll go back to Portugal and think luck was not on their side, because I didn't really see the spark in them, apart from the assist that Aubameyang did for the goal that actually took them to the shootouts. I didn't really see the football that Marseille actually played on that night. So if it were up to me, I was giving you guys a result. You guys gotta put your money on Atlanta. Well, the last semi-final would be Bayer Leverkusen taking on Bayer Leverkusen is taking on, oh, forgive me for that. I don't know why that is skipping me. Bayer Leverkusen is, of course, they have not lost a game this year. They have not lost a game this year. They come up against an AS Roma that is actually playing a lot of sports in Europe. In the Italian Serie A, they've been racking up very many results. They have hardly lost under the new manager. That's the Rossi, of course. For a player, for someone that used to play straight for Roma and is now coaching the team, I think he's managed to get the dressing room back in order. And now Roma managed to beat AC Milan. AC Milan has been racking up a number of beautiful results. Yeah, Olivier Giroud and Rafael Leal had discovered his goal scoring boots. Christian Pulisic is scoring goals week in, week out. But they managed to put that tie to bed very early on. Roma actually even got a red card in that one against AC Milan, but they still managed to put the result to bed. In this game, I think it will come down to the industry of Paulo Dybala and then Florian Wirtz on the other side, because without Paulo Dybala, I think the connection he has with De Rossi is very solid, because he's actually been the most consistent player since De Rossi came through. And then under the De Rossi regime, there's been a Mancini, that's the captain of Roma. He's actually taken, I think, the armband from Lorenzo Pellegrini. Most of the time he hasn't been playing. But Mancini has actually steadied the ship steadied the ship behind there. His game reading has been second to none. Of course, they lost Indica, that's the Ivory Coast Africa Cup of Nations champion. They lost him. I think he succumbed to some heart condition recently and he's going to be out for a while. I think they actually dedicated that win to him. It was nice to see him come in at the end of the game to move to rally with the boys. But I think this Roma side is very solid. They are not conceding as many goals as they used to concede before. And in the middle of the park, I think in the front line with Romelu Lukaku, of course, putting in a lot of industry and putting in the goals inside there with the Paulo Dybala, it's going to be interesting to see how they break a rock-solid defense that has a Jonathan Tah playing with a lot of experience, that has a Hinkapie inside there. Of course, the goalkeeper, his name is really hard. I think Hadeki is actually the captain of Leverkusen. He's been rock-solid at the back. The return of Victor Boniface was actually very well noticed. When he came back, he scored in the first game against West Ham when they were offing West Ham. And then this Leverkusen side, take nothing away from them. That unbeaten streak has been, they've been putting in a lot of work. They were losing against West Ham the other day, and I think the coach is like, Frimpong, come and do the wonders. Of course, everything had refused. Frimpong comes off the bench, scores a goal in the 88th minute. So there's a lot of guts and character in this Leverkusen side. In the midfield, Granit Xhaka is bossing the midfield. He's dictating the play. He's sending the passes left in, left, right. Of course, he has a goal in him, a block pass overshot, the left foot inside there. So I most definitely think Leverkusen continues this, because Leverkusen is now pushing to win all the trophies. They've already wrapped up the Bundesliga. He's looking to win the DFB Pokal and he wants to win the Europa League. So I'll give you guys a Leverkusen win on this one. So aside from the route map initially, that's Leverkusen takes on Atlanta for me in the final. That will be Germany taking on Italy. Interesting one to watch. We'll probably give you a dissection when the final comes through for you guys to know what's happening. In case you have something to mention, something that you want to add, an input that you want to give, the numbers will be below on the screen for you to shout out, to give us a mention and tell us what's up. Otherwise, it's been nice. It's always a pleasure to come through and give you guys what I think about these predictions and all this analysis and everything. Don't forget to hit the subscribe. Don't forget to tell a friend to tell a friend. We go again, signing out.